Sony fears horror, Nintendo forces you to emulate 3DS and Wii U games, and we bring out the tamper because Team17 has been a bad boy!
It's Jeff's Weekend Gamer Show.
Hello, and welcome to the Weekend Gamer Show. I'm Jeff. Feel free to skip to these timestamps if you want to see the bigger stories this week, but for now, we start the roundup with breaking news from Capcom. A big countdown has been going on for a few days, which has led to this moment, which is the reveal of... the obvious answer. I mean, it was a Street Fighter event. It only makes sense that Street Fighter 6 gets announced at it. Right, Resident Evil fans? Which is the reveal of... You know, I should have believed. I should have believed the Resident Evil fans when they said it was going to be Resident Evil 4 Remake. You know, I figured Street Fighter 6, a Street Fighter event, but Resident Evil 4, there you go. Which is the reveal of... Holy crap, that's awesome! Which is the big reveal of... Oh, son of a... A major update happened this week as Cyberpunk 2077 has finally exited early access. Right? That's what that last year and a half was, right? Yes, the next-gen patch to bring the games to the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles has arrived with a smaller file size on PS5 due to reasons. But the question isn't how big the file size is, it's if the game is any good now that it's fixed. And the answer is... maybe? When it comes to artistic endeavors, everything is subjective. You may very well like the game, but have some little nitpicks that may still be in the game. You may have been turned off by the glitches and now feel comfortable to play it for real. You may have just liked the game period and now can enjoy it on console because of the update. Or, it may just not be for you regardless of how it's fixed. Or, you could be in a fifth category, someone who likes breaking games for a living. Well, I got good news for you. EA and Ubisoft will have plenty of games later on this year. Netflix has announced a new film based on the video game series BioShock. BioShock, of course, is known for its thought-provoking storylines, interesting plot twists, and not quite as good second game. All I'll say is that if Ken Levine is involved, the script will be written, thrown out, and rewritten so many times the studio will go under due to attempted perfectionism. Speaking of films, Sega and Paramount Pictures have announced Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Oh wait, I read that wrong. They have announced the third Sonic the Hedgehog movie along with a Knuckles spin-off. Yes, they've announced the third movie before Sonic 2 releases in April. Or at least I hope it's a third movie and not a third of a movie that requires a Sonic 3.5 with lock-on technology to finish. As for Knuckles, the series will star Idris Elba voicing the echidna. And that's about all we know. I enjoyed the first movie. If the second movie is any good, I'll give the series a shot. It's probably the only thing that's getting me to sign up for Paramount Plus anyways. Because it sure isn't Star Trek. What are you looking at? Sony has made the move to censor Martha is Dead, a psychological horror game created by LKA and published by Wired Productions that releases on February 24th. The game had already received a mature rating from the ESRB when the decision was made. It will still release as originally intended on Xbox consoles and PC. So what exactly was cut out? We're not entirely sure right now, but this isn't the first time Sony has asked for a game to censor itself, or the first time a genre has been sent to the cutting room. When you think about censorship in video games, older gamers probably think back to the early Nintendo days. Religious iconography being removed, swears changed to other words, alcohol changed to coffee. Ones that stand out in recent memory are Fatal Frame Made in a Blackwater and Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. I didn't play Fatal Frame, but I do remember there being a backlash in the West over lingerie and swimsuit costumes being cut in favor of Nintendo-themed outfits such as Zelda's dress and Samus Aran's Zero Suit. Meanwhile, Tokyo Mirage Sessions had a few edits when it came over. In particular, outfits were changed to be less revealing and poses changed to be less sexual. As a matter of fact, there was an entire chapter involving gravure modeling that was completely changed in the West to be similar to normal modeling. However, there seemed to have been a turning point when Nintendo became more tolerable with games on its system and PlayStation more strict. One series that really stands out is Senran Kagura, a fighting game series that's already had a bit of a reputation, based around groups of overly sexualized high school girls. There was a visual novel called Senran Kagura Reflections, and right after a remake of the very first game that included a mode called Intimacy Mode. This was a side activity where you could... Okay, I completely get why Sony didn't want this. I get that sexual harassment places are a thing in Japan, but what the actual Yeah, Reflections is on the Switch, and the remake of the first game is intact as well. Meanwhile, Sony had removed the mode in Western releases. This isn't even the first time they've done this. The Walking Dead had toned down gore, entire scenes were blocked out in South Park: The Stick of Truth. Outfits were toned down in Final Fantasy Type 0. Scenes were changed in Kingdom Hearts to be more child-friendly. Yakuza 6 had a line about Taiwan being a country changed. The list goes on. So was this the right move? We'll see next week when it releases. In the meantime, there are plenty of games Sony is censoring that you can get mad about, such as covering up cleavage in Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. No comment. Still haven't seen a Coney Island yet. Wait. Oh, there we go. Oh, Woodward. That's not how you spell that. It's supposed to be an A in there. I saw Coney Island right at the end. And the 313 area code in there too. Woo. 313 represent. It's been a rough couple weeks for Team 17, and pretty much from their own doing. First was the NFT backlash with the awful wordplay of metaworms, but they backtracked after responses from both their fans and the developers they helped publish, which is why I ultimately stayed my hand during that week's NFT whack-a-mole. But perhaps I shouldn't have shown mercy, for another issue has reared its ugly head. Last week, Team 17 staff members past and present spoke to Eurogamer regarding treatment of employees, describing the NFT situation as just the tip of the iceberg. Issues that came up during reporting include low pay, long hours, increased workloads, targets to sign a new game every month, a push to ignore issues during game testing in order to meet strict deadlines, and an HR department that gaslights employees. A company that mistreats its employees while harming the people it's trying to publish. Where have I heard this one before? Yeah, those are all bad, and every bad actor involved there deserves a special place in hell. But I'm talking about a different company, one that was beloved with a hit game that turned into a toxic cesspool run by one guy that demands honor but gives nothing in return. One that leaves its developers hanging and games that could have been published stay in development hell. One that I thankfully will never learn how to properly say. You, Tyrone Rodriguez, are the saddest sack of shit in this industry. It's one thing that you exploited your workers, it's another that you encouraged racism within the company, and a whole nother thing that you ghosted developers you signed on to publish. And then there's whatever the you did to 90s Super GP. I swear to God, if it turns out Devolver Digital did the same thing, I am gonna hunt down Harry Miller and impale him with Maria Zook! As for you, Team 17, I've stayed my hand long enough. It's time to pay the piper. It's time you get what's coming to you. It's time for me to get to work. Nintendo has announced that the eShops for Wii U and 3DS will shut down March 2023. Adding funds by credit card will be removed in May, while eShop cards will no longer work with these shops in late August. But you can still add funds to your Switch account, which means you can buy great games on Wii U like The Letter. Yeah, maybe that one can disappear. Okay, so maybe some games aren't worth getting worked up over, but there's plenty to go after. Affordable Space Adventures was Wii U exclusive, as was the Dr. Luigi variant of Dr. Mario. Pushmo has all its games on Wii U and 3DS. Xenoblade Chronicles X is the only game left in the series not to see a Switch port. Bravely Default and Bravely Second are stuck on the 3DS, as is Dylan's Rolling Western. Plus, don't forget about the Virtual Console games getting left behind. Game Boy Advance has yet to reach the NSO. Same for the TurboGrafx. Actually, there's a few I've been meaning to get, but actually haven't done so. And first one out of the gate, Fire Emblem on GBA. I love the series. Sacred Stones is one of my favorite GBA games. It's getting bought. Ooh, I forgot they had Wii games on here. And hey, Lost in Shadow, one of Hudson Soft's last games before being fully absorbed into Konami. I hate Konami, but I love Hudson Soft, and Lost in Shadow was such a solid game. Bye. $1,000 later. I mean, I know I have this on Switch, but everyone says it plays better on the second screen. I might as well get it. Another $1,000 later. I am ending up in a pauper's grave, and I don't care. There's a lot to love on these eShops, and plenty of lesser-known games that could use your money. But when it's gone, there's no way to get these games. At least, not legally. You knew this was coming. Emulation of Wii U and 3DS games will spike once the eShops are closed. And I'm sure Nintendo will do whatever it takes to close those websites down. For me personally, if there's a viable way to make a purchase, I will try to make that purchase. If there isn't, well, I'm not saying not to, or saying that you should. I'm just saying it's there. And in about a year, that's the only place it'll be. And if you have an issue of morality, just remember, even Nintendo emulates Nintendo. Badly. And that's it for the roundup this week. If you liked what you saw, be sure to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, share with your friends, and leave a comment down below explaining which game you think from the Wii U or 3DS eShop deserves some love. I'll see you next week. Bye!
It's Jeff's Weekend Gamer Show.